Text reads, Ulysses S. Grant National Historic Site presents Thanksgiving Chicken Pie History and Tutorial. Woman in green dress pulls apart chicken in a yellow bowl.
Oh, that looks good. All pulled apart. Going to be perfect for my Thanksgiving chicken pie. Haven't heard of a Thanksgiving chicken pie? Oh, I have a story to tell you. I'm Suzanne Corbett. I'm a foodways interpreter working here with the Ulysses S. Grant Historic Site. And chicken pie is one of those wonderful things that kind of disappeared from the landscape. And it was a favorite in the Midwest and in the South. It was a favorite because at one point when Sarah Hale, who was the editor of Godey's Lady Book, was presenting and promoting the national holiday for Thanksgiving.
Woman with curly hair.
It kind of gotten pulled into an abolitionist holiday just because she was a Presbyterian and the Presbyterian ministers helped promote it, which didn't do much for people who had slaves, like the Dents, who had many enslaved workers here on the plantation.
Enslaved woman peeling potatoes.
This is a very old recipe, and this would have been something that the Dents cooks would have had. And one of their enslaved cooks by the name of Mary Robinson, in her memoirs, or I should say more or less an interview years later, mentioned how chicken would be used in many different dishes, particularly those chickens that were dispatched by
Hens and rooster.
Ulysses' dog Leo. He liked to
Newfoundland dog.
grab a chicken now and then, and nothing else to do with it after that was then cook it up. And a chicken pie would be good. And if he happened to catch one during Thanksgiving, all the better, all the better. This is a chicken that has been slow boiled over the hearth. I've saved the broth to make a gravy with it. We have our pie pastry. This is just a simple butter or lard pastry with the flour into the pan.
Rolling pastry.
And to this, we're going to add just a little bit of salt pork or bacon. Give it a little flavor. Give it a little bit of extra fat to it, because those chickens back in the day didn't have the tenderness that the chickens we have here.
Stirring ingredients.
Add in some carrots, onion. You can add a little potato, whatever you had. And those were some of the things that were raised right here on the Dent plantation.
Chopping carrots.
I'm going to flavor this with a little bit of herb. Now, it had already been boiled with a little bit of fresh sage, but I'm going to add in some thyme. And some wild chives or onion, as we have here.
Folding pepper into chives on a cutting board.
Add in a few peppercorns. Now the chicken pie, I had run across people whose grandparents
Family sits around dinner table.
would cook and bake their chicken pie for Thanksgiving. But by the turn of the 20th century, for the most part, unless it was a family tradition that people hung on to and didn't take the canonized menu of the turkey and cranberry sauce, which was pretty much in place by the time of the Civil War.
Sketch of soldier with roast turkey.
But they would still embrace their chicken pie. We're going to add a little bit of moisture. Now the frugal housewife tells you to make a poultry gravy. I could make a poultry gravy very simple by adding a little bit of buttermilk into this if I like, heating it over, making a simple white sauce with a little slurry of flour and water, mixing it together. But I think just the hot chicken broth sticks it together pretty nicely. Going to add in a few peppercorns.
Stirring ingredients.
And then add it to my pastry.
Pouring ingredients into pie pan.
Fill it well. Don't want to have anybody leave the table hungry. Now this could be topped with another pastry, or some Southerners would make a biscuit dough and drop it in. Now since the Dents were known to have their Maryland biscuits, what you can also do is crumble leftover biscuits and add it to the top. Then it would be placed in the oven. We're going to use a Dutch oven.
High-end Dutch oven.
This is after I add a little bit of extra broth on the top to soften the biscuits. We bake it until it's hot, bubbly, and the pastry is brown. I'm ready for dinner, Thanksgiving or not. Set it over, let it cool, and hopefully nobody will reach through the window and steal it.
High-end stone windowsill.
Easy to do, and a great way to celebrate Thanksgiving historically Southern.
Slice of chicken pie on cutting board. Credits read Ulysses S. Grant National Historic Site presents Chicken Pie, featuring Suzanne Corbett. Directed and produced by David Newman. Images, Library of Congress. Music, Wholesome and Ever Mindful by Kevin MacLeod. Text reads, for more videos, visit nps.gov/ULSG. National Park Service arrowhead symbol.